is elevator control. So elevator cab 1 and 2 only has access to output 1, 2, and 3, which I believe is like first, second, third floor. Although here, I guess is
5, 6, and 7. Even?
Yeah.
Those are your controllers, right? The 1, 2, and 3.
Those are outputs.
Oh, the outputs. Okay.
Yeah.
Can we change these to say 5, 6, and 7, or whatever they end up in? Is that a?
No, it's part of the software. Yeah, it's just how it works. You have to kind of know logically where stuff is at, you know, because you have like P levels and stuff, but software doesn't care. Just
right. I don't know if there's a description that we can modify. So if I wanted to make one on here that was just floor 6, so that I give that access card, that group, whatever, access to both cabs, but just the 6th floor.
So what we would do is we would say add, assuming the 6th floor is 2.
Or 2, yeah.
So we would do elevator output 2, or 2, and then say all of these.
So you have to do the output and
The floor has to match, yeah.
Yep.
I learned it the hard way.
We also have to have a name. Here you can have one time zone for all outputs, or you can specify per floor. So, okay, and then yeah, that's exactly how it works. So access groups you're not going to use. So that is building an access level. Access. So if you need to add elevator controls like these are, you would have to create the elevator control level first, and then the access level, and then add that elevator control level to the access level, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And then one more question. If we're going to be making a bunch of cards for a tenant, let's say we have a tenant that have 50 people that are moving in, is there a way to make employer template or company template? So that way, when you select the company name, all of the access stuff gets, like all the information on the card minus the employee's name gets auto-filled in, access gets auto-selected. Or is that not an option? You have to go in and manually do it for every single employee that's there.
So you could do you would have to manually enter them in, and then you could bulk add the access level after.
Okay. And can you do a bulk input of, I mean, like we get an Excel sheet that has, you know, a list of all the employees, can we do a bulk add?
Yes, there is a way to use an import tool to do that. You have to basically format a file in a very specific format and include a bunch of information, but yeah, there is a way to do it.
And how do I find out what that format is, or how to do that? Is it all just on the help check?
There's a whole separate guide that covers all of that, a separate application and all that. I can go into that and read through this.
Or if we could just have access to it. I just know that like when somebody moves in here, if we have 100 people moving in, we're not going to want to input every single one.
Yeah, there are a couple options to do that. I'd have to look at the license that you guys have, but yeah.
Door unlock.
So in the access levels and elevator control levels, we were assigning time zones. Here's where it gets a little tricky. So
Here's what it is.
I'm going to cover time zones first. So say you want a business hours time zone, right? So we would call it business hours. And then we need to set a start and end time. Say 8 to 5.
Sure.
Say 800. And then wait, 17. So those are our start and end times. And then
Monday
through Friday. And then we say, okay, now just creating a time zone. The part that gets somewhat tricky is these over here, holidays, which I'll get into. And if you go over a day, so let's say you want a time zone that activates at 10 p.m. and deactivates at 6 a.m., what you would have to do say 10 p.m. So when you set a start and end time, it has to be in the same day. So to go over it, here we would have, 10 p.m. on Monday. We would go through.
You just include Saturday on this one.
It's for those pesky graveyard workers where you gotta worry about the midnight hour on this thing.
Okay.
And then that's how you do that. So the catch part of time zones are holidays. So you have no holidays configured right now. If you configure a holiday, it's an exclusion.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have business hours Monday through Friday, and then you set up a holiday for a day that's in there, it overrides it. That's a holiday, the building takes a day off. Unless, under time zones, you select one of these checkboxes. So like, let's say if you have New Year's Day configured as a holiday, your schedules will not work until you come in here and actually select the holiday type that it is, and then it will allow the schedule to run during that day as well.
So this will override the holiday schedule?
Yes.
This is like an exemption to the standard holiday schedule.
Yep.
So if we don't have one of those selected, then all cards will follow whatever holidays we put in?
Yep.
Okay.
So like if we put in, say it's a holiday type 1, December 31st. It's only one day long. You can set it to repeat or not.
Question on the repeat, but I'll let you finish this, but then we'll come back.
Okay. You say okay. So now, all time zones will not work on New Year's Day. So if you have access, they will not have access on that day. Come in here to business hours modified. Set that to holiday 1. Now this business hour schedule will happen to even on the holidays that are in the holiday 1 category.
Okay. So we would want to do that on our parts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you gonna ask about the Thanksgiving? How do you do the repeat yearly on?
Yes, on one where the day of the month changes.
Like Easter, Thanksgiving, stuff like that.
So
Calendar gets in there.
if I remember right, it defaults to the days that you have set.
So you have
So
to
you gotta
change
change
it every
them.
year.
I remember this now.
I don't know how to do that. HVAC does it. I don't know. I've never understood that. I can do it on HVAC, say, third Thursday of the month. Okay, cool.
Time zone reader modes.
So we'll actually need to have that checked on all of our tenants and everything. Because everybody's going to need, if they have a car, they're going to be able to get in, but we need the doors to lock. So we'll just by default select that H1.
Yeah.
Okay. Continue. Thank you.
So, yep. Time zone reader modes. Here's where you can actually set your readers to operate on a timer or on a schedule. So I'm going to say modify. Let's say the 5th floor, 501 Bravo, during the time zone. So at the start of this time zone, it will trigger the start condition, and at the end, it will trigger the end condition.
So if it's not following this, it won't read a card. It'll just basically be turned off.
Well, no. This is just where we set it. So that reader, for right now, it's card only, right? So during business hours, let's say we want people to get into it. So we'll say unlock.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So at 8 a.m., that door will shift to an unlocked mode. And then at the end, at 5 p.m., this will shift to card only.
Yeah. Like, maglocks will pop.
Perfect.
And you would just assign and say, okay. So now this reader door will go to unlocked and card only.
And then do you need to do anything to implement this, or every time you click OK, it just happens?
So the schedule will take effect the next time a triggered condition happens. So even though I set that door to unlocked, it's not unlocked right now.
Is there a way to force that?
Yes, there is. So what we'll do again, Bravo. Yeah. See, right now we're in access only, or card only. So the easiest way to do this is reader access mode default.
update hardware status?
No, that just triggers a refresh.
It's just something where it, like sent it to the controller and it would mess up the locks for like 30 seconds or whatever.
I think you have to download the panel to push it, to force it to check. Otherwise, you can just set it to unlocked and if you go to unlocked, and then it will trigger the next one with the next condition.
So any change you make there will override back to auto in the next schedule change.
Yeah, I mean, so at 5 p.m. when this schedule triggers, and if we have it set to lock, like we can do whatever we want with the door up until 4:59, and then as soon as 5 p.m. hits,
It gets its next signal.
yeah, it'll go lock, and then all the changes can be made during the middle of the night, you know, and they will stay there until 8 a.m. when it triggers again.
And cards created happen immediately as soon as the card's created.
Yes, when you create a card, as it has an access level, it will get sent out to the parents.
We should be able to get remote access for this too.
We will on the computer. We'll be logging in and set up. Yeah.
Because you don't want to drive in to unlock a door.
If you ever want to remove it, you just go to modify, select the reader assignment, say remove. Okay.
We have, this is a question not about this, but we have this door here that goes into the hallway to the elevators. We're going to be having the garage put their own card reader on that, a little scan reader for their garage tickets to unlock that door.
Okay.
I think that'll all be hardware, it'll be right there. I don't think you have to be involved, but is there any reason why that would need to talk to the panel? Or can they just do that all locally?
I'm not
Because it's
100%
just
sure.
gonna-
So, like, if you're talking, they have a reader connected to their system?
Yeah, we just wanted to release the mag lock because we have our cards, but they need to be able to have access to that to get to the garage. And so we want to have another reader next to our card reader that they can scan that will also unlock that door.
I
But
would
it's
say
gotta
it's
be on their
possible,
system.
but I've asked the PM and have him look into that a little bit.
So you're talking about like a piggyback?
Basically, yeah.
There should be a way to do it. I'm just not 100% sure on the top of my head.
Because you're just killing power to the mag lock, so if there's just another relay there to kill power to the mag lock.
Should be.
Yeah.
I don't deal with hardware very much.
Sure, okay, that's fine. I wasn't sure if that was you or not.
This part, you guys aren't going to deal with this much, but I'll show it anyway. So access panels, here's where your access panels are. Name, if it's online. The workstation is the communication server, which is ran on the Linode access server. Panel type, this good stuff.
And this is the only panel in the building?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, most of this stuff you're not going to be dealing with. When we add the panel into the system, we'll take care of it at that point.
Yeah.
I asked them earlier if someone could remote in from their end or whoever our vendor is for this, so they don't have to come out, because we had that with these guys over at Sunset. Our guy was tied, he could be at home and, oh, hang on a second, let me remote in, and he can, something got really screwed up or whatever because of a contractor, he can go in and make the magical fix.
Yeah, and we'll be able to do that with Logman. We'll get that set up on our
Okay.
end once we get the computer.
Notes is just a section where you can put notes.
For that.
Fairly beneficial to do. Just say like what room the panel's located in, what date it was replaced, any of the sort of information you guys want to put in there.
Totally.
Or not. Depends.
Don't delete the panel.
Yeah. Do not want to delete the panel. So reader, again, one of the only things you're really going to need to worry about in here, well, two things actually. So reader modes, online and offline. This is your default reader mode. So when I was clicking default on the reader mode, this is what it's going to go to, card on. Offline, if the reader and panel lose communication with the server, they'll go to an offline mode. Or if the reader loses communication with the panel, it goes to an offline mode. So
So it
the
can still
default's like
locally
card.
control the device, even if it's an offline?
If it's an offline, it's offline. You can't communicate with it from the software.
But they can still use their cards. Because
Yes.
So
If
that's
the-
the
as long as there's power
local
to the-
control at the card reader to unlock the door, that will still
Yeah,
function.
yeah. So if you lose communication from the server to the panel will operate based on the information it has at the last time
Sure,
you got it.
sure.
If you add new card holders in, they're not going to have access to the door. And then if the reader loses communication with the panel, then it goes to the offline mode.
Sure.
The other portion is card format. Again, you guys should typically not be dealing with this, but just in case, this is where you actually assign the card formats to the readers.
Okay.
Right. Just trying to think of what else you guys would be benefit from be looking at. I mean, that's basically it right there. Do you have any questions at this point?
No.
No,
Unless,
no, thank you.
I mean, if you
So we
guys
can-
have any questions that come up later, like, just let the PM know and they'll get an answer for you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.